Hey Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. I want to welcome all of you to my channel. I'm very happy that you all are here. If you're here to see the cross stitch, what I've been working on this week. I do not have any new items to share with you. I do have a upcoming stitch along to invite you to join me in on, as well as a little kit that I'd like to share with you at the end of the video. This past week, I've only worked on two of my focus pieces. One is Cooper by Aida Fabric, and the other one is Christmas Eve by the Prairie Schooler. They are the two pieces in my current rotation, my ever-growing current rotation, that are the closest to being finished. Last week, I had set a goal for myself to finish up Cooper by Aida Fabric, and like I said, I got very little stitching done this past week, and that kept me from finishing it up. But I'm going to share with you where I ended off last weekend. This is the pattern cover for Cooper. I'm stitching him on 40 count picture this plus Ren, and I'm using 2 DMC threads over 2 linen threads, and they are the called for threads, and here they are. And here's Cooper. So I have all 4 corners. You can see the bottom left-hand corner, the bottom right-hand corner. All that I need to finish is just a few letters, the branch, and the tail. So not knowing what this current week holds, I'm going to set for myself not a lofty goal of finishing Cooper, but I would like to get at least the branch completed. It will be one color. I just have one color left in the branch, but the stars that you see, the branch actually covers those. They are actually within the branch itself, and I hope to get that finished up. I had been stitching on him on Friday, which several months ago became Friendship Friday for me. And so I have always picked him up and got a little work on him on Friday. And of course, I did not even get a chance to stitch on him this past Friday. So I hope to at least get 2 days of stitching, if not more, on him this coming week so that I can finish Cooper up. This morning when I woke up, I did have a little time to myself and wanted to stitch, but Cooper wasn't one I wanted to stitch on. I picked up Christmas Eve by the Prairie Schooler. I'm about halfway. This is being stitched on 32 count Sage Jobelin with the called for DMC threads, and this is just your typical Prairie Schooler Christmas palette. And this is where I am on this one. As you can see, I'm about halfway done. In the top portion, I have to finish up the front legs of that reindeer, a few snowflakes, and one more reindeer, and then the bottom. The bottom is a good bit of solid stitching. That whole band that you see there, the snow beneath the village, is full coverage. There are a few more words I need to stitch in, which are peace, hope, and love. No, is it peace, hope, and joy? And the best part about this, as far as stitching, is the village that Santa is flying over. I've really enjoyed stitching that. My favorite element, I think, is this little snow-covered tree. And I also really like this house. Believe it or not, it's stitched with DMC 420, which I never would have thought of as a house color. I need to jot it down, that 420 for a house, because I would love to use that color in a house and a sampler somewhere along the way to convert it to a different color. I really like the look of this one. It looks like a mustardy, mustard brown color, but it is just, I really like that color for a house. So here we are with Christmas Eve. And don't forget our little elf telling Santa with that whip in his hand, whip it, whip it. I bet the reindeer don't appreciate that very much. So there's that. This coming week on the 15th, I will be hosting a stitch along with Kim, Barbara's daughter, from here on Flosstube. We are going to host a stitch along for the 12 Days of Christmas piece, a freebie piece by Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Samplers. It is listed on Paulette's blog, all 12 pieces to that 12 Days of Christmas. It is a monochromatic piece. I know that many of you have stitched it in the past. I've seen lots of beautiful photos on Instagram. Some have added some gold elements. Some have changed some of the colors around. They're all beautiful. But Kim and I would like to invite you to join us. So if you have the 12 Days of Christmas freebie by Plum Street Samplers, which is Paulette Stewart, in your stash, or you've been sitting on the fence just like me, wanting to start it, just not taking the time to do so, now's the time. Please join us. We would love to have you join in with us. In my last video, I shared with you a new piece of fabric that I had gotten in the mail and that I was going to do an upcoming start, and that was the piece. So I'm going to share with you once again. This is 36 count Weeks Dye Works straw, and I had chosen DMC 817 to stitch it with. I really like the orange undertones in this piece. My husband wanted me to stitch it in more of a traditional red. I tend to go for the darker reds, the garnets, but he really liked this one. And then I remembered that some time ago, when I learned that having a red sampler on the go was a law, I reached out or shopped on Salky Threads website and got what I consider a sampler pack. There are 3 different shades of reds in this pack. There are 2 spools per color. We have 1147, 1181, and 1169. The one that closely matches this red that I had chosen is the 1147, which is the one here on the end. It is a tad bit darker than this one. And now that I'm getting really close to starting this piece, I've narrowed it down to these 2 threads, and we'll be making a start with these 2. The pros for this one are that those bobbins are 50 yards of thread. Plus, when you use Salky Threads on, they are the equivalent of 2 DMC threads. So 1 strand of Salky off the spool is the equivalent of using 2 DMC threads. So that should give me a good even coverage, thread coverage on my 36 count Weeks Dye Works. So at this time, I do like this one being a tiny bit brighter, but I'm leaning towards this one because if I use this one, I also have to make a run sometimes this week to Hobby Lobby to pick up a few more strands of this to ensure that I have enough. Where this one being a 50-yard spool, I should have more than enough. So I more than likely will use this one. If you remember, I also picked up these paper craft pieces at Hobby Lobby last week, and if I do use this 817, I will use these as my floss tags. I will list the information below the hashtag, which will be 12 Days of Christmas SAL. If you wish to join in with us and you want to post your update pictures on Instagram. And I will also leave a link for Kim of Barbara Daughters, her Flosstube. So if you're not already watching her, you can pop over and give her a look. She always has something interesting to share with us each week. Okay, that's my current whips, what I've been working on this past week. I did do a little shopping today. I stepped out and just had some errands to run, some things to pick up, and we made a run to Walmart. And if you're like me, I just love redrumming of the Pioneer Woman. She has a line of cookware, small appliances, kitchen gadgets, linens, bed linens, curtains, those kind of things at Walmart. They're also offered on Walmart.com as well. But I have several of those things in my kitchen. She uses bright, cheery colors, teals and reds and yellows. They're beautiful. But I follow Redrumming as Pioneer Woman on Instagram, and they had just released her fall line of dishes and things, and I noticed that she had something that really caught my eye, which was she has a fabric line. So while I was at Walmart, I decided to take a walk through the craft department. My Walmart seems to be getting rid of their bolted fabrics or fabrics by the yard or by cut. They are going to prepackaged yardage there at my local Walmart. And at first I didn't see that. They're just beginning to phase it out. It was kind of empty and sparse back there. But as I was leaving the crafting department, I found Ree's items on a end cap that was is a box. It was made out of cardboard and it was teal. So if you're looking for it in your Walmart, look for that typical Pioneer Woman teal and you may find her fabrics. This is not the whole line. This is a good bit of it, but I didn't get all of them. I got the ones that I was most interested in, but I want to share with you the colors that I picked out. Aren't those so very yummy? So my idea was to use these to make project bags. So I got these two to use together, and these two to use together, and those two to use together, and those. But then again, if you've not already watched Celeste of Celeste Creates, she put out a video this one of the past few days on how to make one of the tomato pin cushions, and this would be a really nice fabric to make one of those tomato pin cushions with one of these other wonderful fabrics as the topper. So I'm going to list or link Celeste's video below. Please go give it a look. If you've not already subscribed to her, please do so. But I want to thank her so much for taking the time to share with us how she makes her tomato pin cushions. It was so simple and so easy, and it left me with the confidence to know that I can jump out there and make one of my own. So look for those from me in the next couple of videos, but I hope that you'll jump out and do one as well. But I will link Celeste below. I also, while I was there, and I picked up these fabrics because I wanted to do some of the project envelopes, I picked up some of the Velcro sticky backs for fabric. And so I used these to close the flaps on the bags that I make. So I just used the project envelope pattern that was shared by Vanna Pfeiffer. What is her name? The Twisted Stitcher. But here they are. These here are just a tan color, and this time I just bought the white, and the white will look really good with these Pioneer Woman fabrics. I also got one of the Wooden Willow. Speaking of tomato pin cushions, this is the sweet lady Michelle that crafted those tomato pin cushions with the counting pin that she placed in the top that I and so many floss tubers and stitchers really enjoyed and purchased off of her Etsy site a couple of weeks ago. And I received this beautiful little key ring, scissors fob, zipper pull. I'm going to use it as a scissors fob. And she has handcrafted this. Isn't that beautiful? If only we could grow buttons in our backyard and our flower gardens, wouldn't that be amazing? So I want to thank Michelle for that. I love it. And I will link her shop again below so you can check it out. From what I can see and understand, that she crafts things and will just randomly post them in her Etsy shop after posting them on Instagram, and she's become very popular over the past few weeks, and her beautiful items do not last very long. They're of great quality. I do have one of my own, as I've shared a couple of videos back. So if you're not already following her on Instagram, please jump out and do so that you don't miss out. And now we're going to jump into, I recently received a kit from MyBobbin.com. They have a web page. It's a Russian-based company, and she reached out to me about featuring one of the patterns of my choosing from her website on my Flosstube, and I agreed to do so. She offered to give me 2 items for myself, or either I could get an item for myself and one to give away to my viewers, and I let her know that I would like to give one away to my viewers here. So I want to share with you first the one that I chose for myself. I went ahead and removed it from the packaging because I did not want you to have to listen to the crinkle crinkle as I removed it. But this is the piece that I chose. This is a Riolus kit from MyBobbin.com, and this is Snowy Owl. It comes with everything I needed inside to make the start. It came with the Aida Fabric, a 32 count Aida Fabric. It came with a needle. It come with the threads, which are wool acrylic blend threads on thread cards, as well as instructions for those that may not know how to stitch. It gives really well instructions on how to begin your stitches and end your stitches and to form the cross stitch with your thread. And the instructions are given in Dutch, in Spanish, in Italian, French, and in English. So if you've not ever visited MyBobbin.com site as an English speaker, I had no problem whatsoever navigating that site. So please don't give that a worry at all. She has many different needlework things, she has bead weaving, so bead craft. She has sewing and embroidery. She has kits as well as downloadable PDF patterns. So there's really something there for everyone. She has hoops and needle threaders and the frames, the Q-snap frames, as well as the easels for holding your pattern. They're all there on her site. I also know that Yanni of Yanni Stitcher has also recently did a MyBobbin.com video review, and she had gotten a bead kit, and she shared with everyone here on Flosstube her finish on that beaded item. So I'm going to also link Yanni Stitcher's video below so you can also take a look at her MyBobbin.com item and her review. So I also want to share with you that my kit come with those wool acrylic blend threads. If you can see, I've got my ceiling fan on and I can see some of the little wispies blowing. Can you see that? These threads are similar but not quite as fuzzy as the Treasure Braid Whisper, or is it, I know it's the Whisper thread. If you're a Mirabilia stitcher or ever have been, or sometimes there are kits that are kits or patterns that call for the Whisper thread in Christmas items. Like I said, it's similar but not as fuzzy as Whisper, and it has such a really good feel because of the wool. I'm looking forward to stitching with these. It looks to be a thicker thread, so I won't need to use 2. I will use 1 strand to stitch this. It comes with a 32 count Aida Fabric, as well as those carded threads. And I've not stitched on Aida in a long while, but I think this is the perfect fabric to use to stitch with these threads. And I want to show you, they match really well to that fabric, so it's the perfect fabric color for this piece. The pattern is actually in color in this kit, and that pattern, it's not a glossy pattern, it's just printed on paper. And I wanted to point that out because if I had a choice between stitching from a glossy pattern versus like a matte color pattern, I would want to stitch from the matte. And I say that because I use an easel and a magnet board to prop up my pattern to stitch from beneath my magnifier that also has a lamp on it. And when I use a glossy pattern, of course, when I use my magnifier and stitch from a glossy pattern, it makes the pattern of course, shiny, and it's sometimes hard for me to see. So because I use a pattern easel beneath the magnifier lamp, I prefer the matte pattern. So this is just to give you a quick glance without giving away the whole pattern of what the colors look like, the color pattern looks like. And I can't remember if I mentioned or not, it is a Riolus. It is a Riolus pattern. And I'm going to share with you, this is, again, Snowy Owl. And for one winner, a viewer, I would like to give away for MyBobbin.com this Riolus kit. This is called Eagle Owl. Okay, what I would like for you to do, if you're interested in receiving this, I will send this anywhere, is I just want you to mention in the comments below if you have ever purchased from MyBobbin.com, what your experience was. If you have never visited MyBobbin.com before, if you visited their site but have not yet purchased anything. And speaking of that, I just want you to know, once again, as an English-speaking person, I had no problem whatsoever navigating her site. It was easy. The currency, there is a conversion there for US dollars. I got it relatively quickly with it coming from Russia with no issue. The site they were very communicative. I received an email at the time that my items were, the order was placed. I got another email when they were shipped with a tracking number. I immediately went to USPS.com and entered that customs number in to get text and email updates with my item, and I had it within a week and a half. So if you're concerned with, like here in the US, we're having a little, some of the delays due to COVID. Those delays did not interfere with me receiving this item from Russia in a timely manner. So I want to relieve your fears if you have any of that. But if you're interested in receiving this pattern, know that this is also a Riolus kit, that it is on a printed piece of fabric. So it is Aida as well, but instead of stitching that entire background, you're only going to be stitching this piece right here. What differs between this kit and the other is that the other kit is with wool acrylic blend. This one is cotton floss, but it is carded just like the other. There is a needle inside as well as the instructions and the printed fabric. If you're interested in receiving this pattern, as I said, just leave a comment below with mentioning MyBobbin.com and whether you visited. And I will hold off on starting mine so that until the recipient of this one, the one that wins, I will use random comment generator, and next weekend I will choose a winner. And if you want to stitch along with me, we can stitch along together and start these pieces together. So I will wait until the winner of this item receives the kit. If there are any questions or comments, leave them below. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and there are so many prayers for those that are in the Pacific Northwest. I couldn't imagine living through what I'm seeing on Instagram from so many of our stitchers and floss tubers that are in the Pacific Northwest right now that are dealing with not only the fires, some of the stitchers are being displaced due to the fires, as well as just living through breathing and seeing in the ashes that are floating so heavily in the air. So you have so many prayers coming your way and so many happy thoughts, and just know that we're thinking about you guys. Until next week, cross all the stitches. See you soon. Bye-bye.